so this is Lawrence. In short, the cat lady. I've been called that so many times now, it almost become, I don't know, a second nature, right? But one of the biggest question that always comes back is, holy crap, my cat has started peeing outside the box. What do I do? Clearly, it's not a behavior that anybody wants. I get that. It is also extremely unusual for a cat to choose to pee outside the box because they're so clean animals. I mean, they just, what do you think they go and cover it? I mean, they don't want to have to deal with any of that. So when they start going outside, clearly something's not right. My first recommendation is always take them to the vet. You need to start there. Some people will say, well, maybe I can try some of the other. No, you always need to go and check with the vet first. Why? Especially if you have a male cat. They can be, some of them, not all of them, but some of them can be very sensitive to crystals. And what that does is like, I think it's pretty much the same principle that for humans. It just kind of gets stuck and then they're trying to go, but they can't. When they can go a little bit, they will go outside the box because guess what? Every time they're trying to go in the box and it hurts like hell, they are starting to assimilate the box as the pain. So they don't want to go in there because they know it's going to hurt. So they're going to go somewhere else. That's always something to really worry about. So your cat's always done great and it's always been going to the box. If it starts going outside, there's no question. You take them to the vet right away. Get that out of the way. Just make sure it's not a medical issue. Because if it is, it needs to be treated right away. Because if you don't, it could actually be, become a life-threatening situation. And we definitely do not want to do that. Girl cats will actually get what we call urinary tract infection, UTI in short. Just like the boys, they don't get the crystals as often, at least it doesn't seem like it. But in the same case, usually you'll notice the cat will just go to the box and sit there, clearly trying to go and can't. That's usually a good indication that something is not right. But one of the first things they'll do before they get to that is they may actually start going outside the box. So definitely, always my first recommendation, your cat starting to act up, to the vet right away. Make the appointment. Let them tell you, nope, everything looks good. And if that's the case, then we move on to step 2. Which is actually a whole series of steps. So I end up, when people tell me, okay, I took my cat to the vet, it's totally fine, urine sample tested perfect, there's nothing there, so what's going on? Then I will kind of go back and try to figure out, okay, what are we dealing with, right? Because it could be so many things, and that's what makes it hard, because, you don't know. You might be getting a cat that's doing that from the get-go. What happened to that cat before, we don't know, especially if you adopt. Or it's your own cat and it's been totally fine, and then all of a sudden, now mind you, it might just be all of a sudden for you, but you may have changed something that actually did not please the cat, and we all know how finicky they are. So you may have just changed something that you may not have thought was very important, but it really impacted the cat and it just made it stop going to the box, right? So I always start asking, how many boxes do you have? And that's a very important question. Now, the golden rule is you should have 1 box per cat plus 1. Now, people are just like, oh my God, but that's so many boxes. What do I have to clean all those boxes? Why do I need so many boxes? Well, especially if you have more than 1 cat, but even if you just have 1 cat, let's say you're in, like a townhome, right? 2-level townhome. Well, okay. As a human, okay, well, if the bathroom is on the first floor, fine, you just go down the stairs and you go down to the bathroom where it is, right? And the cat will usually do that. Now, if you bring your kitten, That usually starts that way. I'm sorry, my hair is just like seriously annoying me. Especially with a kitten. I always recommend always have a box on each level. But honestly, I would recommend that for any cat because it's just convenience, right? And for once, you actually need to make it convenient for them and not just for us. We have a tendency to do that. So how many boxes do you have? That's so cute. If you only have one and you have 3 cats, it may have been working fine up until then, and then something happened, like both of them needed to go at the same time and they couldn't. And once they get outside, there's like a whole process that you need to kind of retrain them. So you don't even want to get to that. Some cats actually, I have one of mine, very finicky kitty. He will poop in one box and pee in the other one. Well, if there's only one box, something's gonna give. And it's usually peeing because to them it's less gross than pooping. So they will continue to poop in the box so they can cover it, right? But they may start peeing outside because they don't want to do both in the same box. Gotta keep that in mind. So even if you only have one cat, I would recommend 2 boxes. Some people do just fine. I used to have my older cats. I used to have 2 cats and just 1 box and never had any issue. I also did not know as much at the time, but I never really had an issue. I just got lucky. It could have really just gone bad. And, at the time, I honestly did not know what I would have done if that had happened. So 1 box per cat plus 1, always just to be on the safe side. How often do you clean the box? Now, we just stated that the cats are very finicky and like it clean. They just really, really, truly like it clean. So when I have people telling me, oh, I clean the boxes once a week, I even as me, just like seriously getting in a room with a little box that's not been cleaned up just for one day just makes me gag. How could you go a whole week without cleaning that box? And I mean, just imagine, would you go to the toilet for a whole week without flushing? Well, maybe you could. I know I can't. So really the golden rule is at least once a day. If you can do it twice a day, even better. I know it's a lot of work, but it will make your house smell better, and that's huge. And it will definitely keep your kitty happy and keep it, from going outside the box, which really at the end, that's what we're looking at, right? And then if all of that's still the same, what did you change? Did you change something recently that you didn't maybe think was important? Did you use a different litter? Some of the cats are just they want that specific kind. They need clumping or they don't want clumping and they like that specific one over that one. And by God, do not buy me the pine one, that my cat. I tried it and I was clever. You learn. I have 3 boxes, 3 cats. So I actually get by having just a box per cat and not having the plus 1. But I also know that if anything was to happen, I would add that 4th one in just no time. But anyway, I tried in one of the 3. I tried the pine litter. That did not go well. So for me, it's just the clay and it has to be clumping. Otherwise, they won't go in there either. So you just kind of learn. And if you changed it, who knows, that one was on sale. You get that one thinking, oh, they won't tell the difference. Sadly, they can't. Now, some cats are not as finicky and wouldn't care. Some of them will. So try to keep track of what changed. Did you buy a new litter box? What do? We're always trying to make it easier on us. It's human nature. It's our house. And, really that litter that flies everywhere and that gets into the whole house, highly annoying. So what do? We buy the covered ones, right? Because 1, it doesn't smell as bad because it's covered, so the smell doesn't go everywhere, right? And they also don't track as much litter. But guess what? 90% of the cats actually do not like those covered boxes and they will refuse to go in. So What's the option there? Would we rather have an open box? And mind you, they now make those really tall sides where, you really limit the letter tracking that way. Okay, it doesn't cover the smell. I'll get that because it's not closed. But if it's choosing between that and your kitty not going in the box, I don't know. You tell me. Did you move the box? Did you move it in a different spot? Cats they're really creatures of habit, and just moving the box into a different place can kind of totally throw them off. So, questions. Those are all like questions to ask yourself. Another big one, and people don't necessarily think about it. Now, that would not necessarily be something that would happen like all of a sudden, although it could, but is your cat declawed? So you will learn very quickly. I work rescue, okay? So we learn a lot of things, and one of the first thing I've learned